All right, so you're ready to build something online, right? Well, the very first block you lay, it's not code, it's not design, it's your web host. Seriously, think of it as the actual digital foundation for your entire project. If you get this part right, you're golden. Get it wrong? Well, that's exactly what we're going to make sure doesn't happen today.
And I'm not exaggerating here. Choosing the right host can literally make or break your website. It's a huge deal. This one single choice, it has these massive ripple effects on everything that comes after. We're talking your site speed, its security, even how people see your brand online.
So here's the plan. Think of this as your personal guided tour. We're going to walk through 4 of the absolute best hosting options out there. We'll break down exactly who they're for, what they cost, and what makes each one special. The goal? To help you find that perfect fit for whatever you're building.
Okay, first stop on our tour is a real heavy hitter, Hostinger. I like to call this one the all-arounder, and for good reason. It's known for being super affordable, totally reliable, and it just works for pretty much any kind of website you can dream up.
And look, when I say any kind of website, I'm not kidding. Hostinger really does cater to a massive range of people. You could be a total beginner, just launching your first blog, or a small business getting an online shop going. Or hey, even a seasoned developer who needs some really specific tools. Chances are they've got a plan that's tailor-made for you. So let's talk price, because this is where Hostinger really shines. Their starting price is it's incredibly competitive. You can get in the door for as little as $2.50 a month. Now, the trick to getting that killer rate? You got to go for a longer-term plan, like their 4-year deal. Yep, it's a bigger commitment up front, but trust me, the savings are huge.
And their plans make a lot of sense. They scale up really nicely. So, the premium plan, that's your starting line, and it's got all the essentials, like a free domain. If you step up to business, you get a nice little performance boost and daily backups, which is awesome. And for you power users managing a bunch of projects, the Cloud Startup Plan gives you priority support and can handle a whopping 300 different websites.
All right, let's move on. Stop number 2 is Bluehost. Now, these guys have carved out a really smart niche for themselves as the WordPress specialist. So if you already know you're building your site with WordPress, you absolutely need to pay attention to this one.
Yeah, Bluehost is just a really solid, no-nonsense, dependable choice. They make the whole setup process super simple for beginners, but they don't forget about the pros. They still have plenty of useful tools for developers. You know, while Hostinger does have great WordPress integration, Bluehost makes WordPress its entire world. That focus makes it an incredibly reliable choice if you're living in that WordPress ecosystem.
And their pricing, it's right there in that competitive sweet spot. You can get their basic plan for under $3 a month if you go with a 1-year term. And even at that super low entry level, they're not skimping. They throw in a free domain for the first year, a free CDN to make your site faster, and that absolutely critical SSL certificate for security.
And you can really see their WordPress focus reflected in their plans. Basic is, well, perfect for one single site. Choice Plus gives you more room to grow with more storage and some pro security tools. And then there's their dedicated online store plan, which comes totally loaded with WooCommerce and analytics. Literally everything you need to start selling right out of the box. Okay, moving right along, our third stop is HostGator. Now listen, if your main goals are keeping costs down and having flexibility, especially if you're just starting out, then you're going to want to pay close attention to HostGator. It's a fantastic option.
So HostGator's whole model is built around something called shared hosting. And the best way to get your head around this is to think of it like living in an apartment building. Right? You and all your neighbors, you're all sharing the utilities, the water, the electricity, and because of that, your rent is way cheaper. But what's the catch? Well, during peak hours, when everyone decides to take a shower at the same time, the water pressure might drop a little. It's the exact same idea online. You get a lower cost, but your site might be a little slower when there's a ton of traffic.
And you can definitely see that lower cost in their pricing. Their entry-level plan, called the Hatchling Plan, starts at just $375 a month when you sign up for 3 years. One thing to know, though, they use something called a cPanel, that's a control panel, for managing your site. It can have a bit of a learning curve if you're a complete beginner, but once you get the hang of it, it's actually super powerful.
So who's the perfect person for HostGator? Well, it's for anyone who really values a low startup cost and, this is a big one, billing flexibility. See, unlike a lot of other hosts that really push you into these long-term contracts, HostGator actually offers month-to-month options. And that is a huge plus if you're just not ready to commit for years and years.
Okay, hold on. Before we get to our final stop, let's do a quick jargon buster moment. You're about to hear the term Cloud VPS. Don't let the fancy name scare you. All it means is that
Going back to our apartment analogy, instead of sharing a building with a bunch of other people, you now get your own private condo. You get your own dedicated resources, your own CPU, your own RAM, which boils down to more power, better performance, and way more control.
And that brings us perfectly to our final provider, Scala Hosting. This is the choice for people who are thinking bigger. For those of you who are planning for the future, who anticipate growth, and who need that extra power and scalability that only a cloud VPS can give you.
Yeah, Scala is for when you've graduated beyond basic shared hosting. If you're running a business that's starting to take off, or you just know you're going to need that rock-solid, consistent performance as your traffic starts to climb, then Scala's dedicated resources are exactly what you should be looking at.
Now, the price definitely reflects that step up in power. We're talking around $15 a month to get started with their entry-level managed cloud VPS plan. So yeah, it's a bigger investment. But what you're really buying here is a massive upgrade in performance, in security, and in your total control over your website's environment.
And this right here is where Scala really truly shines. You can start with one of their managed plans, which is already super powerful and gives you dedicated resources and full support. But their real killer feature? It's the ability to build a completely custom VPS plan from the ground up. You literally tell them exactly how much CPU, RAM, and storage you need, and they build it just for you. For anyone with very specific technical needs, this is an absolute game changer. So there you have it. That's our tour of 4 absolutely fantastic hosting providers. Phew, we've covered a lot of ground, right? So let's bring it all home and figure out how you can find your perfect match. Okay, so let's do a quick recap of the main takeaways. Hostinger is your go-to for incredible all-around value. Bluehost is the obvious choice for its laser focus on WordPress. HostGator is perfect if you're a beginner on a budget who needs that billing flexibility. And you'll want to look at Scala if your business is growing and you need the serious power of a scalable cloud VPS. So, the big question. How do you make the final call? It's actually pretty simple. Just ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, what am I actually building? Is it a simple blog, a big e-commerce store, or something else? Number 2, what's my budget? And don't just think about that tempting intro price. Remember to check the renewal rates. And number 3, how comfortable am I with the technical stuff? Be honest. Answering those 3 things will basically point you straight to the right provider for you. Because, at the end of the day, picking a web host, it's not just some boring technical decision. It's about laying the absolute strongest foundation you possibly can for your big idea. So the real question isn't about hosting at all, it's, once that foundation is solid, what incredible thing are you going to build?